Man, this goes back to I cut my first head on my oldest brother. He asked me, I think I was 13, 14 years old, and it was the number one all around, and he was happy with it. So I have a big family, 7 brothers, 6 sisters. So I started cutting my brother's hair throughout the years, my boy's hair. So I took a liking to it. But I didn't get into a shop until 2012, August 2012, down in Long Branch. That was the first shop I ever entered. Shout out to Heads Up Barbershop, my man Micah Goff down there. I started off real slow, but I knew from that first shop how he broke down, what it was to be a business owner and how much you can make in each chair, the difference between commission and booth rent. And I knew I wanted to open a barbershop from there. So 4 years later, I started off on my own. I ended up finding another shop where I ended up renting a booth. So I went into business for myself there as True Cuts Barbershop in New Brunswick. And 2 years later, I stacked up my money. 2 years later, I opened my first barbershop in New Brunswick. So from that moment on, I figured out the game. I figured out what it takes to run a shop, to be a professional, to be successful at just keeping it consistent quality cuts. Teaching the barbers, what it takes to be your own person in that chair and have everyone working in unison to make the shop run well. So from that first shop, I stacked up, opened my second shop, both in New Brunswick, one on the college campus, one on George Street. So from those two, I just kind of put my money back into, my dream, my vision, and being that I was on Rutgers campus in New Brunswick, I figured I would either go to Camden campus or Newark campus, and definitely coming out here was a bigger city and much more opportunity. So I just pounded the pavement. I came up here one day and I walked up and down Halsey Street, and a couple people told me that's where you want to be, and I ended up under a dorm just like the one in New Brunswick, getting a deal with Rutgers, and the rest is history, man. I think all my shops have a vibe to them that the people, the community says that it just feels different. So outside of the aesthetics, which are also different, but outside of the aesthetics, it's the people that's in them. So I'm very particular about hiring certain people to be professionals and show up every day, maintain, professionalism, cleanliness. Greeting the people, to me, greeting the people when they first walk in the shop is something that, it sounds crazy, but it's like a lost art. In a lot of barbershops you walk in, it's a number thing. Hey, are you getting a haircut? All right, sit down over there. Instead of personally approaching them, introducing yourself, asking their names, what type of service, and treating them well. Have, water offered to them, some coffee, the music that's played. And then when they sit down, what do they hear? What do they see? So I have a lot of my guys dressed, casually, which is something that's very different in regular barbershops. The high-end ones, yes, you can see that. But I'm kind of in the middle, I want it to be just different in a sense where I don't have to go up on my prices so much that people feel even comfortable coming in, because when they look at, some of my shops, they think they're gonna spend a lot. And then when they find out how much my cuts are, they're comfortable with that. I'm wide open to the community and for the community. That's my main aim, is to have anybody walk in my shop and feel comfortable. White, black, Asian, Indian. One thing that stands out for my shops is we cut all types of hair. It's black owned, mostly black ran, and that's not on purpose. I do reach back and offer opportunity to my people, but when they walk in, especially white, Asian, and Indian, they look at brown-skinned people as, we have a stigma that we don't know how to use scissors, but all my people are trained in using scissors, and you can read the reviews and the word of mouth, it goes a long way. I open my doors to the community, and me coming from, a kind of a troubled background as a teen, I knew what I needed, back then, and I wanted to offer that to a lot of teens coming up now. So I opened my doors for mentorship, a space where they can come and watch or hang out, and even offer program opportunities here for organizations around. I grew up in New Brunswick and Highland Park, New Jersey. I represent them both, NBHP all day. But I grew up, in a impoverished, neighborhood and a impoverished household. So the streets were like my only option if I ever wanted a little better than in a home. Yeah, I was an angry teen, so I ended up fighting a lot. I was very upset about a whole bunch of stuff, home circumstances, life circumstances. It landed me in juvenile a couple times. I did a program. Ended up in boot camp. But while I was in there, I was told by a lot of the COs and the staff that you're different. You don't belong here. You need to go home and get yourself right. So that stuck with me throughout life. So when I became an adult, I broke away from people, places, and things. That cliche statement is true if you apply it to your life. So when I began to make better decisions, the people I was around, my life changed. So I ended up meeting my wife, mother of my children now, beautiful woman who also helped change me because she saw the good in me, and it reminded me of what the people say, like, you just don't belong there. So once I realized that I can overcome, what was, won't get into that, but what was said against us, then I just felt better. I felt better about my decision making. I felt better about where I was going, and it took time. Dealing with anxiety, depression, addictions, PTSD. I overcame all that. Still dealing with it, but overcame to the point of being able to cope with it. At the same time, build something that I think wasn't for me as well, like entrepreneurship. But what drove me in that direction is the felony that I had when I was 20 years old. I'm 42 now, but at 20 years old, I caught a felony. Ended up doing a little time, but when I got home, I couldn't get a good job at all. We all know how the system is against you in that way. So damned if you do check off the box, damned if you don't. And I just realized that I wasn't able to scale. I wasn't able to get in, into a good place. So I entered a barbershop in 2012. So when I went into business for myself and I understood what it took and what it means to me and my family, there was no looking back. I mean, there's many rewards when it comes to making better decisions in your life, no matter where you come from. You don't have to come from the hood, be black, whatever, just in general. I think it's just self-identity. I have a tendency, still do, but had a big tendency of, casting shame on myself, looking at my past, like I can't get ahead because of this and that. I'm the worst with self-condemning, So when I made better decisions over time, it doesn't happen right away, but over time, I began feeling better about myself. When I hung out with certain people at certain places, the drinking, the smoking, it was automatic. But once I stopped that, stop the drinking, stop the smoking, you think a little better, you feel a little better. You get into the gym, you get into the different, life habits, and you automatically start to feel better. So that's one, the self-identity. Two is your circle becomes, it just becomes helpful instead of destructive. Your circle becomes different because you're starting to think different, and you're allowing certain people in your life that will help you move forward, help you get there. Resources open up. Now that the community is more resourceful because, you have a starting point, and once you start to reach out, you'll be surprised at how many programs, how many city officials are down for you, businesses are opening the doors for you. So relationships, self-identity, relationships start to get better. The feedback from the community helps a lot. It gives me confirmation that you're doing the right thing, you're on the right path, especially the people that know me, that knew me from a teen, knew me as a young adult and see me now. I believe them now when they say, you're doing your thing, You know, I believe them when they say, I'm proud of you, or you have a testimony, something like that. So that's encouragement, man. Even though I'm the boss, even though I'm the owner, I treat my people as equals. So instead of, like, if you can think of an office setting, a long table with me at the head and all my people looking to me, I like to use the term 360 round table, no head. 360 round table, no head. So we're all looking at each other as equals, and I'm open to suggestions, input, feedback, even the things that I need to learn. You know, I'm far from a perfect owner, especially at the beginning, but I'm open to hearing a lot of all my barbers out, all my stylists that I have now. The culture I want to bring and keep in here is, number one, like I like the being God conscious, keeping God centered, keeping God in the forefront. So that's me, regardless of faith, just being God conscious, right? I think if we start our day with that, a lot of things will fall into place. But as I treat my people as equals, they feel comfortable enough to speak to me. They watch me. I think setting the example of what I'm trying to have them be in my shop, being the example is the most important. So as they watch me, I don't want to tell them to do something that they watch me do the opposite. So by leading by example, not only them, but me, feeding off each other, energy, having each other's back. One might call out, one might be sick, one might be late, just having, each other's back in that sense. If one doesn't know how to cut well with scissors or needs help in this, just being there for them, and providing a space, all of us collectively, providing a space where the community feels welcome coming in this shop. And your reviews online, your reviews reflect that. And when I read the reviews, I just know that we, not I, but we are doing a great job at keeping that together. So I already began talking to a couple of people out here. Spoke to someone at NJIT, works on the board over there. They're super excited to have us, service their students and staff alike. I spoke to a couple of people at Essex County. So just these three schools alone, Essex, Rutgers, and NJIT, I just want to provide a space for the students, mainly through our booking app. I know staff and students alike, they're on a time schedule. So I want to make sure my guys are punctual when it comes to keeping that 45-minute gap. For that one person, be done within that 5 minutes and have the next person come. So they're not waiting an hour here, hour and a half here, so they can get back to their classes and go to work. So I just want to provide like a space where they can come play pool, they can play PS5, they can socialize, know that this is a community type of environment. I know that there's a school around the corner where they have a space for some of the homeless, some of the less fortunate. And then you have teens there as well. I think boys and girls alike. But I am very big on community and giving back to people who don't have, who are less fortunate. So that's something that is in the forefront of my giving. So just provide a space for them. My guys know that we will be doing once, twice a month, free haircuts for those people. We'll be hosting events, teaming up with programs like ARM program. My good guy, John, I've been doing that for a couple of years with him, but they have the mobile showering unit, and they usually have them come here first where we provide backpacks with food items in it, socks, a change of clothes, stuff like that, man. I'm really big on giving back to the community in that way. And also me, coming from being a troubled teen, I really want to help the teens. I want to go back into Essex County Youth Detention Center and talk to them there upon their arrival on returning home. I want to open my space up to like mentorship, keep them off the street, even reach out to the ones that are out here already, to the ones that are in that program. Just provide a space where they can feel safe, they can come, learn a trade, and I can encourage them to go to school. They go to school, they get their permit, I'll hire them right away. You know what I'm saying? So the booking app right now is through an app called Booksy, Booksy. You can find us on that app just by downloading Booksy. You can find us on Google, on Yelp, or on our Instagram page. We have the booking link in there. It's a very, very easy, seamless type thing to use. You go on, you get to see each and every barber or stylist, every staff member. You get to see their days of availability, and you get to see their time slots. You book it, you get a confirmation, as long as you show up on time. We do give a 15-minute grace period, so show up on time, but you book it, you show up on time, you sit in a chair, you get in right away pretty much. So it's pretty easy. Man, I think friendly competition is always good. The friendly competition is, I think, something we silently hold, against each other. But I think bigging each other up is even greater. So when someone does a good cut, something that's like, we walk up to them, we start filming right away. We take our phones and we say, nah, you're gonna get this, footage. So we encourage each other in that way. Timing of fades. So we have a competition where the fastest fades, we just kind of take that crown, you know what I'm saying? And I think the fastest one right now, haircut with scissors, is like 12 minutes. So somebody has to beat that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about quality, not something you just brush through. And I'm usually the judge on a lot of it. Like a perfect cut is 12 minutes right now. But yeah, I think that's what we would nerd out on.